Now, the moment y'all have been waiting for, we got another round two of panels, and I promise we won't keep you here all night. You don't have to stay. I know people are like, wait, hold on. We just want to have a quick conversation with our movie film.
Right. I'm super excited about this next discussion for the past year, and this is amazing. Josey meets so many people, so many nonprofits, so many interesting characters, but what better way to capture this stories like El Zapatista? We are going to make a movie or a documentary out of El Zapatista story. We have to. Yes, we do. Round of applause for that. Without the next individuals or this whole industry. And so what Josey's creating is a committee at the state level that advocates for inclusion with minority groups or in general with the state for the film industry. So today we have three professionals here that are going to talk to you a little bit about everything, your projects, funding, what Josey's about to create. So first up we have Mr. Rick Cuéllar. Yes, round of applause for Mr. Rick, the man with the 21 vision. He is the CEO of One Track Vision, the founder of the Fiesta SATX Film Festival, and the biggest project that they're working on right now, or one of the biggest projects, is the San Antonio Walk of Fame, which leads me to a nonprofit and why it's so important for nonprofit and state inclusion and city and state. We have Cynthia Garcia, which is the president. Yes, round of applause for Miss Cynthia. Miss Cynthia has been block walking all week with a buzz knee. So that is commitment. She is also precinct chair for the Democratic Party, but she is president of Live and Hearts Production Fund, which is a nonprofit organization that is heading up initiatives like the San Antonio Walk of Fame, which is an amazing project that I've already seen development plans for. So thank you so much, Cynthia. Last but not least, certainly not least, I met him over a year ago. He's just so amazing. When I say he's a storyteller, if you ever have a chance to have a conversation with him, it is such a pleasure. He's a director, he is a writer, but he's a friend, and he's an ally. And his name is Mr. Gabriel. So Gabriel, he is the director of King of the South, a series that's being filmed here in San Antonio. Season 1 has been filmed. Season 2 is in production in a few weeks or in a few months, but I'll let him tell you all the amazing things about this series that's being filmed in San Antonio.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for being here, y'all. I know we're a little bit late in the evening on a Monday night, but it was a holiday day, to be safe. So it's kind of like a Sunday night. So I wanted to segue and kind of end the evening with discussing media. We heard a lot today about how media portrays us, of how, the messages, we got a lot of fear-mongering and messages and things of that sort. I'm proud to say that our brother, we lovingly call him Carmona, he has joined us at some actions at Dilley Detention Facility. As you all know, this is spanning across religious segments, it's spanning across political segments. This is something to where people who are good people, who have a good heart, see things that are happening and aren't happy with it. And so how can you all, as movie and film producers and filmmakers, right, capture today? And how can we be a part of that? Now, I know I give you this huge question because as you're talking, I want you to think about it, okay? Because there's a message. We want everybody to leave with a message, okay? So, number one, if you could just tell us about yourself, tell us about your work, and segue that into when we went to that protest.
Hello, thank you, Josey, thank you. My name is Carmona, I'm a filmmaker. I'm based here out of San Antonio. I'm a self-taught independent filmmaker. And I think in movements like this, the artists become the most important people because it's another way to fight back without necessarily fighting back. We use our tools as filmmakers and as storytellers to tell these stories so that people can connect with us on a personal level and see that we kind of all go through the same thing. What I do personally is, all of my stories I write myself. They're all original, based on the experiences that I've had in prison, rehabs, I'm straight up homegrown. And lot of people that have those same experiences can actually use those to tell stories or to become filmmakers themselves. There's a way to use those experiences to, to elevate not only yourself but the people around you as well. Because kind of like when he said, when Pharaoh walked in and the judge was like, Bone Thugs and Harmony, you as ex-offenders or drug addicts or whatever, we have that against us, but those experiences actually are the things that can save us because it makes us vulnerable. I know that going to that facility with you guys a couple of weeks ago was very emotional because you're at a tipping point and you don't know what's going to happen, and sometimes the only thing that you have is your camera to capture the truth, because you go home and watch the news and the story they spin is something totally different than what actually happened. I think in 2012 I was in Arizona. I was part of a protest there with the school district, and at one of the meetings that they had, a gentleman who was a big gentleman, these two gentlemen confronted each other, and because the guy was kind of big belly, his belly touched the man, and the man kind of fell backwards. The next day in the paper, it was, large Mexican attacks, little man. And I saw the danger, in presenting some news like that. And my grandfather always told me the most dangerous thing you can do is tell the truth, or to be a reporter. And, what you said about having these two strikes against you, you're right. Just walking in the room, that's revolution. You gentlemen just walking in the room, that's a revolution in itself. My nephew, who is biracial, he's revolution. So I think every time that we claim that space through our art, especially in that place, because seeing all these individuals so impassioned, but not having any real direction, it can be dangerous. But you can use that passion you have as long as you know how to cultivate it. And something that Chris brought up, I know he's no longer here, but that's a really good idea, and I wanted to talk to the judge about that. Maybe it doesn't have to be like an official program, but a lot of those kids have stories. You could go in there and say, hey, I'm looking to put a series together. Stories of, whatever.
You heard it here. You heard it here first. Let's do that.
I think a lot of times that when you're in that position, whether you're incarcerated or some sort of rehab, you want the opportunity to tell your story. And once you do that, you start to see how many people actually connect with us. So, I don't know if that answers
No, that was beautiful. Thank you.
Well, how do I connect to all this? Well,
How do you feel? How do you feel about right now as a filmmaker, as somebody who is involved in film? You're also a protester and an activist and an advocate. You're a staunch Democrat with GOTV. I mean, she's everywhere, and she's a Garcia.
that's true. How do I feel? I feel like now is the time to stand up.
That's right.
The reason that I am on this nonprofit, Rick and I decided, I finally have always felt we needed more representation. We've always been here. I can just say that we were probably all here way before some other people were here. And we were treated, and we have been, and we continue to be treated as if we are less than. We weren't treated like our African American black brothers and sisters. We were treated like the peons. Okay, they don't protest enough, they don't say anything. They'll just take you, they're very nice and polite, respectful. But you know what? We're here, we've been here, and we've always been here to contribute to this country, to everything that there is about us. So I'm really big on representation, and what a better way to do it than to have us on film and TV and streaming services. Why? Because we have a story to tell.
and we've had that same story. I know we were talking about earlier, Mr. Zapatista over there was talking about how, you know, he grew up with the whites that, no, if you weren't white, you couldn't drink out of a fountain. Well, I didn't get to do that, but my parents brought me up. They taught me the stories from a long time ago. They took me to places where my mother's family is from, along the Texas coast. I could go into places when I was like 10, 11 years old, and they still had the signs. No N-words and no not even Mexicans, Mexicans allowed to drink from here, or the bathrooms. And the first time I saw that, I went and told my mom, like, what do I do? And she's like, well, you're not that, and that's over, and just go ahead and do it. But the thing is, we need to represent each other and represent ourselves well. Everyone thinks that we're all of these rapists, terrorists, whatever they think we're doing, but we're not. We're here, we've been contributing, and oh my God. So part of the mission of my nonprofit is to create the Walk of Fame that we want to create in San Antonio. Highlight Latino artists and, you know, women and men that have contributed to the fiber of this country. Let everyone know, hey, from Rita Hayworth all the way down to Bad Bunny today. You know, we're here, we've given everything we've got. We're not here to do all those different things. Sure, we have some people that do, but that's true of everyone. But we're here, we've been here, and I think the only way to show you the difference is to represent. And what better way to do that than to put ourselves in your face at a movie, on TV, or in a stream series. So that's kind of how I feel now. I'm going to go on to the next thing. So that's exactly why I still do the democratic stuff that I do. I was brought up that in order to make a change, you've got to be part of the change. My parents would take me along since I was 5 years old to go work the polls and do whatever else we needed to do. I remember handing out all these little leaflets and just hand it out. Okay, so I was there watching TV, when they're talking about each other and they're doing all of these different things, and my mother and father would say it's important. I know you want to watch the cartoons, but no, you can't do that. So I had to watch all the debates, and then I would have a little quiz. So it's been important, and I've noticed the difference. My parents were also activists in terms of when there was Cesar Chavez and there was leafleting, done that. And I didn't even know what a grape tasted like till I was an adult, but it was delicious. And so I've continued with that. I also am chair of one of the GI forums here in San Antonio. And another thing, when we're talking about representation, you would think this is military city, right? That everybody's equal. Well, my chapter, or our chapter, actually focuses on housing. Because in San Antonio, Military City, USA, we have people, apartment complexes, and people that rent their homes, and if you come to them as a veteran with a voucher, they won't take you because you have a voucher. So what we're working on and what we're getting ready to do is provide, City Council's already met with us, and now we just have the mayor. We want an ordinance that will say we are not going to discriminate against any of our veterans for that. So again, everything that we are talking about in terms of film, all of these different things, it is about representation and who we are. So those things are important to me. That doesn't end today. It doesn't end, it'll probably end when I drop that, but that's gonna be it.
No, that's when we carry on the torch.
But no, that's what we all gotta do. Everybody needs to stand up, and I know that people will say it's not political. I'm here to tell you that everything that you do and that everything that affects your daily living is political. At some point, you're gonna have to make that choice. And the choice is, what do you wanna do? You need to stand behind the people that are looking out for your whole community, not just one. I don't want you to starve. I don't want you to not go to the hospital or see the doctor. All of those things are important. Consider that. So I'm just going to make one last thing. Tomorrow's early voting, and you need to start voting from the 17th to the 27th. If not, I'll look for you on March the 3rd.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Ballots until February. February 20th.
Right.
Mr. Rick Cuéllar, the man.
Yes, ma'am. My name is Rick Cuéllar, and I am in the film industry. What I've been trying to do, I started in '98. I started a quest. In '98, somebody brought it to my attention that less than 5% of the lead roles in mainstream television were Latino. Okay, 30 years later, we're still in the same boat. I've been working on that diligently. In 2006, I wrote a soap opera that featured Latinos as central characters, playing Americans. They were a wealthy family. And when I went to LA to pitch it, the first thing they would ask me was, is it in Spanish? Is it a telenovela? HBO was interested in it. And when they set me up with the vice president of HBO to start working on it. And what happened at that point, they said, it's perfect for HBO Latino, not mainstream television. So they keep us in a box. Everything that's happening today, television is very powerful. You all know that, right? And what it does, it subliminally warms the minds of kids. So when they see us as the negative stereotypes, kids think we're negative characters. So that's why when Donald Trump came down that staircase and said Latinos are rapists and all that stuff, a lot of people already had that in mind. I remember a situation when I had moved to New Jersey. I had moved in with a family from Chicago, white, and the wife I moved in August, the wife was moving down in December. So when the wife came down in December, that's the first time I was going to meet her. And we were going to rent a house together. I was going to live upstairs, they were going to live downstairs. And as we're unpacking, I see the lady over there, and she just squatted, down and started crying. And I asked her husband, hey, go see what's wrong with your wife. She said, we're crying. So he walks up to her and talks to her, and he goes, and walks away. And I go, what happened, Wayne? And he goes, she started crying because she's only seen Latinos on television, and she's afraid of you. And so that's what kind of kept me going. I said, okay, I got to do something. I've got to write a script. I've got to do something. That's when I started writing Alamo Heights. The show was called Alamo Heights SA. And from that, I raised $1 million for that. And within a week, we spent that money. We created jobs, within a week, we spent the money. And at that point, the economy failed. And so my investors had to pull out. So at that point, I said, you know what, I have to do something. If I'm going to do this again in the future, I need to do something where I can build a foundation for this. So if my investors pull out again, we can keep going, we can keep creating jobs, and we can try to keep increasing Latinos on American television. So I started developing a strategy. And that's what we're doing now. We're rolling out a strategy. Cynthia has started a nonprofit. Cynthia's my president. We're working on the Walk of Fame. You've been to our film festival. She came to our film festival last year. She was awesome. And I hope we come back this year.
Absolutely.
Okay. And so basically, we're trying to roll out something in every district that has to do with film. So everybody embraces it in San Antonio. And then we're trying. The Walk of Fame is to get national attention. Basically, we want to honor people like Edward James Olmos, Linda Carter. There's Latina. Who else? Jennifer Lopez, Jessica Alba, etc. So that we want to bring them down. And Lupita Gutierrez. Yeah, of course. So anyway, we're going to try to do something in every district to build that foundation. And I have a couple of shows. I'm pitching in 2 weeks. I'm pitching to a gentleman in LA. I have 2 shows that I'm going to pitch to him. I'm bringing back my soap opera Alamo Heights, and I have a new show called Mariachi Mode. So what I'm doing when I'm writing a script, I'm thinking, how do I cross this over to mainstream? How do I cross over the Latino experience to mainstream? And so what I'm doing is creating content that has Latinos as leads, but also shows them as professionals and as all American. And like, for example, I said in Alamo Heights, they were wealthy. In Mariachi Mode, it's about 5 kids. They have a mariachi. And for some reason, down the road, their grandparents give them a bracelet. And they come to find out that it has superpowers, so they become superheroes. And so I've created the whole franchise already, so I'll be pitching it in 2 weeks. So that's where I'm at with what I do.
So Texas had a record investment in film incentives and movie industry work. It was so important when we found out about that. It wasn't because, oh, we're gonna go be movie stars, right? Or it's the cool industry, we wanna see, Hollywood and Texas. It's not that. What it is for us is listening to all the people who leave San Antonio to find their dreams. Whether it's dancing, whether it's learning to be in the film or TV industry, whether it's being an actress, actor, dancer, what have you. People are driven out of Texas for those industries. So when we found out there was gonna be record investment, I'm thinking I'm going to get money for San Antonio, because that's the one thing, is that these pots of money that are given throughout the state of Texas, like when you listen to the news and they say, $50 million given to the film industry. That's for the entire state of Texas, and you have to vie for that money with projects, and it's a diplomatic thing. Like we've been talking about the politics of everything. The politics of everything is everything right now. And that's why it's very important that we understand how to navigate that. You heard Zapatista and you heard Carmona mention about bringing people together that you normally wouldn't work together with. That's what we're having to do right now, y'all. We're having to sit down with people that we know probably, would rather see us in that, $1 million ice warehouse they just bought down in the East Side. Boo, by the way. I just want to say that we did stand up and write a letter to Congress as well as to our state legislature, our state leadership, and let them know there won't be any ICE facilities in San Antonio. We're going to keep fighting on that front. So if you're interested in being a part of any of this policy work, I do want to make sure that we let everybody know that any legislation is your legislation. If you have a bill idea and you want to present that for the legislature, bring it to us. Remember I said our team is open for you? If there is an idea for a bill, something that you can introduce that can change people's lives, please come to us and let us know. Within the last year of us getting together, we've been at the Capitol. You've gotten a chance to film at the Capitol. They've been honored at the Capitol. And it's important for me to keep uplifting our community in these ways, because at the end of the day, it's about their story. Our story. Right now, we are Texas in national history. Right now. So I just want to say, when we're talking about representation and people telling stories, not only would the movie industry bring us jobs, bring us talent, bring us generational wealth. Imagine that. Imagine you can actually build for your family here and have your own studio, and your kids grow up and they run the studio. Imagine that being Texas. Can you just tell me real quick how important it is, or what you see when you're giving people like us, and we're not the pick of the litter, y'all. We're not. We're the ones that our voices are usually suppressed. We're the ones who are on the outskirts of society. You've heard it here tonight. We've told you all the stories, right? But it changes lives, doesn't it, when we tell our story?
It does. It does. I just got finished working with some gentlemen who are ex-cons, Los Necios. And working with them, they saw the process of filmmaking, and you're taking personal stories that just regular people can relate to. Because I think a lot of times you go to the movies, these people that are just so, not like us at all. And it's important for us independent filmmakers to tell these stories, because what it ended up doing is it inspired these gentlemen. And they would tell me, of course, every time I start a movie or a scene or something, someone will always say, you know what would be a good idea? And I'm like, oh my God. Yeah, it'd be a good idea if you wrote your own movie. That'd be a great idea. But I always tell them, write it down, because some of the ideas were really good. And I gave them all the notebooks, actually, that they passed out at the film festival last year. I passed out the books to the Necios, and I said, write it down. And of course, they wrote it down, chicken scratch. They brought it to me. They said, okay, I'm done. And I said, oh, no, you're not. Now you have to write it in screenplay form. They're like, well, I don't know how to do that. And I said, well, I'm going to show you. And I showed them. I said, I'll show you once. I showed them what to do. And then from there, they just kind of took off. And next thing I knew, 2 or 3 were writing. And at the actual premiere in June, some of their parents came to the premiere. And I remember going to work, and Rupert, who's in his 50s, said, my father called me and told me he was proud of me. He's never told me that. And I said, well, that's awesome. You give people this opportunity to show themselves. And it's not for everyone. There's different types of film for all kinds of people. I have a particular niche. Mine come from my experience with real people. Because our stories need to be told. And right now, more than ever, the need for authenticity is, and I don't have to tell some of you, but the need for authenticity, like that's our ticket. We can tell a story that no one else can. Nobody. So me personally, and also having my nephew who's 13, who got to participate, who's helped me on some of the productions, and to see that thing being passed on to someone else, that's probably the most beautiful part. And the thing too is, I don't wait for money. I don't ask permission. I just do it. I wait for everyone else to catch up, and eventually they will. But there's a need for storytelling, and if you're that creative, whatever that is, it's going to come out. It's going to come out. Like Cynthia said, sooner or later, it's political. And I think the one thing that I remind myself more than anything is that it's my opinion, and that's all. It's just my opinion. A lot of people will vibe with that opinion because that's how they feel and that's what they want to say. But I think it's important for organizations like this to recognize that authenticity and not have to go to California, and not have filmmakers come from California to come here to tell a story about us. These white people sometimes to come down here and they'll go film at the Riverwalk and a carriage and that's it. But that's not San Antonio. San Antonio's los Casianos. San Antonio is Zapatista. San Antonio's the west side. And when I started working here about 1.5 years ago, that's what I wanted to do. Is I wanted to honor the city, because the city was honoring me. The city was opening up and embracing me. So I use San Antonio as a character, but in a way that where people like Henry, when he sees it, he'll recognize, that landmark and things like that. And I think it's important because film isn't so far away that it used to be. It used to be kind of like untouchable, But now more than ever, you also have to remember, what is it that you're filling your frame with? What is it that you're putting out there for people? Because like Rick said, yes, they have a particular idea about us, and the only way that we can break that idea is by creating a new one and making them see it. Making them. Now that I created King of the South, there's been instances where the rug has been pulled out from under me, but I continue. And these other opportunities arise as well. But the main part is the expression, because I think if you take a look in history, sometimes the most dangerous people are poets and painters. They take those guys out because you can't govern imagination. And that makes you more dangerous, because then you can inspire other people.
I was just going to say, regarding the stories, that is extremely important. We should be doing that at home, the way it used to be, the old way, because we're storytellers. Everyone, if you listen to it, in every culture, some of the things that occur and you believe in and you start to realize you need to make the change was based on stories that your family, your grandparents, somebody, we all had storytellers. We need to continue storytelling so that people become aware of this is how it was, It doesn't have to be this way. If we do this and continue the fight, then we can change things. And the only way to do that is through storytelling. Learn from the time that you're really young, just like I did, and start telling your kids the same thing, because that's how you put it in their brain, that it doesn't have to be this way. Once from the storytelling you go through that, you give them hope. It's not just a little circle they live in. There are more things to accomplish, and you can do that by telling them the stories that people had and what they went through and what you can do to change it. So I think storytelling is extremely important.
This is storytelling is very important for sure, but the main thing is that we need to get it in front of the right people, in front of the mass audience. We can't just keep it to the Latino culture, doing Latino stuff that keeps it local, because we're not going to influence anybody that way. And it's very important to make more Latinos famous so we can become influential. Right now we're almost 20, well, we're 20% of the population, projected by 35 to be 25%. And in television, we're less than 5%. Since 98 and probably before that, we're less than 5%. And if we don't have more Latinos in there, we can't change policy. We can't do a lot of things because those people are influential. Look at Eva Longoria. Look what she's done. She gets involved in everything. She's been involved in presidential campaigns. All this because she became famous on television. And we need to get a lot more Latinos to do that, get up there. Latinos, Africans, Americans have been able to reach that goal. I mean, I think it's 13% of the population, and they're about 18% present, which is awesome. We haven't done that. We're more of a passive group, I think, as Latinos. So we don't get out there and fight,
Well, let's talk about why that is, though.
Yeah.
You gotta understand that we're what, culturally conservative, right?
That's what it is.
Right?
It is.
Religiously conservative.
And it's hard
to that.
and it's hard to get out of that because that's the way you were raised. You respect authority. That's the way we were raised. I don't know about other cultures, but we're all Monday. I mean, you always say please and thank you and bow to authority because that's the way we were raised. So I think that's what holds us as a culture from going out there and fighting and doing and getting aggressive and assertive. But we need to do that at some point. Yeah, at some point.
Anytime now we're getting aggressive and assertive.
This is the time.
We're talking about tackling policy, when we're talking about being present, when we're talking about taking on those big screen roles.
So what I heard here is that our next movie stars are coming from San Antonio. Did anybody else hear that? That's what I heard. Look, there's a million and one things I would love to talk more with you all about. What we've done here is a sampler. It's kind of a teaser of what to expect on our speaking series. Thank you, Lupita, for getting everybody together. Round of applause. I see Matthew there, Matthew and his husband. Thank you so much for being here and supporting us. Deb Bond, we appreciate you so much. But can I just have a round of applause for my guys here, please? For Pharaoh, for all of our team. I mean, I couldn't do anything that I do without them. Mr. Ben, I see you as well. Thank you so much, Lindsay. This is just a sampler of more that we're gonna do. So if you've enjoyed what you've seen here today, if there's more that you want to talk to us about, if there's a place where you would like to host us, if you'd like to come to the Capitol, if you want to be a part of all of our efforts to serve the community with our nonprofit, as well as uplifting our community with those who are doing the work, please reach out. I would like to just give you a couple more seconds each just to leave your lasting words, and then we're going to close for the night, as I thank all of you.
Oh, thank you. I just want to thank you, Josey, for inviting us, recognizing us, giving us the space to be able to do that. Since I met you, I don't think it's ever been politics. We've just been straight up. I met you through Sarah. Through Sarah. So thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Sarah.
And Sarah is amazing, y'all. She does everything. Like literally, when we talking about tragedy hits and we're boots on the ground, we know she's there with us.
For sure.
One of the first that we call.
For sure. And it's people like that they set an example. They set an example. And so thank you so much. Oh, and if you want to make a movie, hit me up.
Yes.
I actually want to be the star of the movie, but anyway. Yes, thank you, Josey. Thanks, Josie, for providing us with this platform. I just hope that all of you are interested in some of these changes that we would like to see move forward. Please come to our film festival. It's free to the public. All we're looking for is your support, coming out there, looking at the movies. We have a music festival. When you do that, you're supporting our dream of making change. And I'm hoping that all of you want to see that change come true. Thank you.
Thank you, Josey, again for recognizing us at the Capitol last year. We appreciate that, and Lupita for bringing us to the table. Appreciate that. And to all the guys that were there, they hosted us up there in Austin. They were awesome. But hopefully we can keep this momentum going and grow this business. I did meet with the Economic Development Department recently, and they're interested in what we're doing. So hopefully we're going to start seeing changes in San Antonio. I'm trying to get, and I think it's a QR code out there. I'm trying to get the Film Commission job to move from the arts to economic development. And so I'm trying to get 1,500 signatures. They already said, yes, we're interested in doing that. But I still want to give them some ammunition to back it up when they go to council to get it done. So,
Definitely lean on us, we're there to help however. Yes, sir, thank you.
Thank y'all again. So proud of you for coming out and joining us tonight. If there's anything that y'all need, please reach out to us, and we'll be scheduling our next stop, number 2 in the speaking series, probably at the beginning of March, I believe, something like that. So thank you all so much. Thank you for joining us, and have a wonderful evening.